Welcome to ISSQUARED Seminar Web Series. After watching this video, let us know if it helped you or if you have any other questions or comments. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new videos just like this. Thanks so much for watching.
Okay, well, let's get it going. Again, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're at. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us for our webinar today on supporting today's remote workforce. We have with us today representatives from three of the leaders in unified communications and contact center space. These are all vendors that ISSQUARED is closely aligned with, and works with these vendors to provide the solutions for our customers to meet their communications needs in today's workforce. Overall, I just wanted to start off with a quick introduction. So ISSQUARED is a value-added systems integrator. We have expertise in consulting, sales, implementation, and managed technology solutions, both in the small, medium, and large enterprise space. We focus primarily on networking, security, cloud, and also premise-based solutions around telephony or any type of general networking. I specifically am the Director of Sales for our Carrier Services organization. And for those of you that are not familiar with our Carrier Services group, we work with service providers in designing, implementing, and long-term management of communications, connectivity, co-location, cloud connectivity, anything that has to do with any of the service providers we work with. We help evaluate those solutions, implement those solutions, and then support those solutions throughout the product lifecycle, and work with our customers to evaluate their changing technology needs over time and adapt those needs and make their business as agile as possible. So with that being said, I wanted to first introduce our first presenter, who's Doug Starzak, who's the Director of Channel Sales for the Pacific Northwest of RingCentral. Go ahead and take it, Doug.
Awesome, thank you so much. And I will go ahead and if you can stop sharing your screen, then I can launch mine. I guess, yeah, while he's doing that, everybody, thank you so much for your time. I know in this crazy world of the quote unquote new normal, obviously there's a lot of hectic things going on, and everybody's time is incredibly valuable, and you guys could be spending it doing all sorts of stuff, whether that's, still educating your children, as very commonly seems to happen these days, or, just trying to keep your sanity, right? So, if you don't mind, can anybody acknowledge that you can see the slide?
Yep, looks great.
Fantastic. All right. So I think what would be good is just kind of go through what makes RingCentral, and I think most importantly, and what's interesting, everybody, this is our mission statement, right? In the simplest forms, our goal is always to be able to be a simple solution that's effortless for everybody. But really, it's much deeper than that too. And you'll see this in a little bit later of a slide and kind of our comprehensive product wheel. But it's communications. Today has really evolved, right? The forms of communication, the types of communications available, the need to communicate, the frequency, everything has changed, right? Like in this new normal world, within this pandemic, what's kind of been interesting is one, traditionally there's a lot of resistance to enabling the remote workforce or transitioning into a mobile or remote workforce or globalizing and, whatever it may be that's different to all businesses and all sorts of different industries. But the reality is we were all forced into it, right? And when you're forced into it, you have to quickly adapt. And so, for us, the beautiful thing has been, it's digital transformation can seem scary, can seem worrisome and cumbersome and complicated, but it doesn't have to be, right? There's certainly options out there. Unified communications has been the forefront of digital transformation, and RingCentral has been fortunate to have been a solution in there. And so this is really kind of our mindset. We're a comprehensive package to really for every single path of communication that you could pretty much think of and need to manage, all within one umbrella, one product set. And not only just being able to offer a cloud-based phone system or messaging and collaboration or video and screen sharing or just any type of contact center experience, whether it's omni-channel, whether it's inbound chat, whether it's, outbound dialing, and dialer plans, or even just, social media and digital media management, right? It's having all of that available on a global standpoint, and more importantly, on an open platform that's able to integrate into anything, right? And I say anything, and I'll explain it here in just a bit, but there's a thing called application fatigue out there, and we all probably have 10 applications open on our desktop today. And the reality is society needs to find better ways to simplify that as much as possible, and we're certainly doing our best to help. So, and something that's interesting, and I think I wanted to highlight this, and I probably should have done it in the mission statement slide, but something that was really cool and unique, when the partnership originally formed with ISSQUARED, is that we have very similar mission statements, in the sense that we both, ours is to be focused on simplicity. ISSQUARED's goal is to simplify the complexity behind technology for their customers, right? And to even take it a step further, right? This is our product wheel, and this is ISSQUARED's product wheel. And, again, right, very similar mindsets, and ISSQUARED being, the kind of experts in their field. They've vast experience within technology and telecommunications and all sorts of stuff. They've obviously recognized over time, just our position in the marketplace, our product set, our solution set, our ability to go to market, and really just to truly service customers and solve real world business problems and help the customers in business transformation. And so it's really kind of, it's established a really successful partnership. And, we've enabled each other to be optimized to help, again, solve those business problems for customers out there. And kind of who we are, right? This is a quick snapshot just to let you guys know, we are a validated organization. We're a fast growing organization, but we invest heavily within our infrastructure, our product set, our people, and everything along those lines, right? Matter of fact, there's a lot of stats and things of that sort that show out there, and we are a publicly traded company, so you're more than welcome to look us up. But we invest anywhere between 10 to sometimes even 15% of our revenues back into research and development, and that's really been a big driver as to how we've been able to keep up with the growth, as well as keep our position as leaders in the marketplace. And taking our product set, right? Again, the whole concept and the reason why we've been at the forefront of digital transformation is with really the phrase here in the top is any mode, any device, anywhere, right? The concept is being able to be mobility first, right? And it's not to say that it's mobility is a requirement or mobility is, the end all be all, but if it's optimized for mobility, but it has the same exact feature set, as say you're in the office or in the desktop, then that really means, truly means that you can work anywhere, right? You have access to anything. And matter of fact, and tell a little story, when everything went down, I'm sure all you experienced similar things, right? They had some close family and friends kind of, all talking about, well, what's changed? Some of them unfortunately lost positions. Some of them, were struggling to shift to the work from home environment. And for myself, I've always traditionally been a remote employee for almost a decade now, actually about a decade now. And, I was kind of awkward in saying, well, nothing's changed for me at all, right? I'm doing everything that I've used to always done. And it's all because I have the tools that's always enabled me to be able to do this very easily and on the road, and I have access to everything, right? And that's because of the mindset and the development and focus that RingCentral has had. And these are some of the drivers that really power into the product set of RingCentral. And some of the, kind of, I guess, highlights, right, without going into details is, really, I mean, we call it a phrase called MVP, and there'll be, kind of quick slides on each, but the concept is, again, right, I mentioned earlier, you have all these business problems of, how do I connect, my messaging to, how does everybody be able to share files accurately and this and that. I mean, you might have a problem right now where you're receiving, 500 emails a day and you're uncertain about how you're gonna be able to keep track of the most current document, or maybe there's a project you're trying to run, or maybe just, there's some inventory tracking or even information gathering, right? Finding information. Sometimes it's a little tough to find everything within your email box. And this is really where things like, collaboration tools that some of you might already use today, maybe it's Slack, maybe it's Microsoft Teams, and that's okay, right? If you're using Microsoft Teams or Slack or anything like that, we have options to work well with those. But alternatively, if you don't like those, we have this as well. And something, again, I want to reiterate, like our solution is available and has all these components and features included, so you can use as much or as little as you want, right? And some of the check marks, these are just kind of highlights of what's really kind of included and it's important about the messaging collaboration app. And just to take it a step further, we have obviously the video and screen sharing capabilities, and that's built into the collaboration app, right? So we call it our RingCentral app, right? And so it has the messaging, it has the texting abilities, the MMS abilities, and you have the ability to one button click to launch a video screen share session or even join ones. It'll be integrated into your calendar, your Outlook calendar or Google Calendar. So that way, again, it's that mindset of simplicity, making things easy for you to be able to launch videos, launch your screen sharing sessions. And then frankly, we do have the ability to launch these without any download requirements, which ultimately lets you join these meetings much faster. And then of course, people do still like to talk. And so you have the ability to make and receive your phone calls. You can route it to anywhere you want, whether it's a hardware desk phone or your PC or even your mobile device, right? And the beautiful thing is, if it's on your mobile device, you can definitely, have that balance of being able to differentiate between direct calls and your organization and work calls, right? And so that's a pretty compelling ability. And it's, at the end of the day, it is an enterprise grade phone system. And listen, if you have global employees or you're looking to globalize, right, we have the ability to deploy to over 100 countries out there. And most importantly, you can have as many features as you want, but if it's not available, if it's having uptime problems, it doesn't do you any good, right? So, we are known for our industry-leading 5 nines SLA. And I mentioned, application fatigue, right? So this is really just to kind of give you an idea of our mindset when it comes to being open to working with their other vendors and product sets out there. We often replace organizations, say Microsoft Teams experience, right? And sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we go in there and we bolt on and make theirs better, right? And because they like their video, they like their collaboration tool, and that's okay, right? But they obviously, there's different products out there that have different feature gaps that, we're able to plug into there and make things easier. Or if you have your, CRM system, as like Salesforce, for example, we can plug into that just fine and do things like screen pop and, call logging. And really what's interesting is Salesforce, them being the market leaders in CRM, well, the number 2 market leader is actually homegrown CRMs. And that means that, organizations out there have built their own CRM. And so this is why we have, over 2,000 custom integrations, because, we've been able to help customers integrate into their own homegrown CRM. So, and frankly, making business decisions based on data and facts. We have comprehensive analytics, the ability not only to be able to trace the life of a full customer journey, whether it's, the moment that they hit your IVR auto tenant to the moment that they hit your queues and hump groups to the end users, and see what that experience looks like. And then take it a step further, it's quality, right? Nobody likes to see finger pointing. Well, it's the network, well, it's the LAN, it's the WAN, it's whoever, right? We can literally drill down into, the sites, we can drill down into specific calls or even users and what type of device they were using, whether it's their desktop, whether it's the hard phone, whether it's the mobile device, and see what kind of network circuit it was going over and everything, right? To be able to tell you where exactly the issues are laying. So that way it takes the question out of everything. And this, at the end of the day, it's resulted in market validation, right? By third-party organizations that are, notable, right? And really the list goes on, but I just wanted to share this, right? And I think, what you'll see too, if everybody's familiar with the Gartner Magic Quadrant, we are in the leaders quadrant, the furthest to the top right, and we have been for the last 5 years in a row. And if you look at previous years, we do continue to separate ourselves. We keep going further up and to the right, and some, shift around, they go up, they go down or whatever. But again, the separation has been, more and more over the years, and we're very proud of that. And it's, it's all because of our commitment to customers and partners to make them successful. So that being said, I really, really appreciate everybody's time. I hope that, this gives a good overview of kind of who we are, and obviously there's much more complexion behind it, and we can really help to solve some serious business problems that you guys all have. And so if there's questions, obviously just work with the ISSQUARED team, and we'll be happy to take care of you.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Great job. Yeah, RingCentral is one of our leading communication providers that we work with. So if there's any questions or follow-up or interest in looking at collaboration solutions, reach out to any of your ISSQUARED reps, and we'll help align some of these solutions for your organization, help you evaluate those different things and how they contrast to some of the other things that are out there. Next up, I'd like to introduce Marcus Garcia, who's the VP of West for Sales for NICE inContact.
Hello, hello. Everybody hear me?
Can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Fantastic. Let me, am I sharing?
Not yet.
Oh, there we go. I got to hit the share button. That would help a great deal. All right, it says I'm screen sharing. Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah, you just need to probably.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Voila. All right, so I am, as he said, I'm Marcus Garcia. I run the enterprise business for the West for NICE inContact, and we provide contact center services in the cloud for those who don't know. So I'm going to take a few minutes here and talk, I think, more broadly about the market at the moment, what we're seeing, what others are seeing, what we are expecting to happen over the next probably year or so, and what that means to everybody here in terms of potential opportunities, some talking points for you to take out and talk to your customers and prospects, et cetera, to arm you to be able to start taking advantage of a lot of the opportunities that the current situation is going to create and has in fact already created. So this comes from a survey that was done just last month by The Economist, right? So I circled this section right here. And because the topic today is really about how do we enable working from home. So we're going to talk about first the problem statement. So if you look at 2019, the number of jobs that were considered to be teleworkable, that is to say, could be done from home, it was something like 42%. Yet, the number of folks who were offered the option of working from home in 2019 was only 7%. Now, working from home for those of us that are in sales is kind of normal. It's been a very, very long time since I've had to go into an office, but for everybody else, it's been somewhat the norm. And for contact center agents in particular, it's not very common, even though it has been a little bit of a movement in that direction over the past number of years. It's never really gotten the kind of traction that it was expected to get until now. And I think what's happening now is that folks are starting to realize, hey, this hesitation that we've had to put people at home out of fears for it's going to be too hard, the environment is not going to be conducive to being able to work, the technology is not going to be there to be able to support it, I'm going to lose visibility over what my agents are doing and how they're conducting their business, I'm not going to be able to control the quality of the interactions, I'm not necessarily going to be able to provide the kind of customer experience that I want, et cetera, et cetera. All of those concerns have now been put to the test, mandated to be put to the test by the circumstances. And what we're finding is that most businesses are now saying, hey, wait a second, all of those concerns that we actually had, they're not all as valid as we thought. Now, it hasn't been simple for a lot of folks to get to an at-home scenario. But for those who have gotten at home, they've found that the productivity has not been impacted the way that they thought that it would. The visibility and oversight of what's going on has not necessarily been impacted as they thought it would, et cetera, which is leading companies to, and here is the salient piece right here, the share of companies that are planning to make remote options post-COVID permanent. In the United States, it's nearly 50%. That's going from 7% to nearly 50%. As a result of this pandemic. And what that means for all of you is that there are lots of reasons to go sit down with customers and prospects to talk to them about the kinds of things that they're going to need to think about as they make this a permanent move. So we have something in the neighborhood of 3,500 customers that are using our platform. For us, moving people home was as easy as just, as long as you've got internet, you're good to go. Right? We had customers with thousands of contact center seats just hand their employees a Chromebook, and send them home. And they were able to log in from home and pick up like nothing had really happened. Which is not to say that there aren't challenges from working at home. Many of those folks don't have dedicated offices, and there's been no shortage of phone calls that I'm sure many of you have even been on, where dogs are barking and kids are running around behind the Zoom call and things like that. So there's certainly some kinks to work out, but the tech, if you're in the cloud, solves this problem pretty easily. So what we're finding, from a personal anecdote, that's what inContact is finding when we're talking to our customers about their future plans, is that they're not looking to make a wholesale move back to the offices. So if you had 400 agents sitting in an office and you sent them all home right now, you're not, as soon as they raise the green flag, going to move 400 agents back into an office, right? First off, the way that we are hearing it's going to go is that when people start being allowed to go back into an office, it's going to be under a very different set of rules, right? Masks may be a thing. Social distancing is definitely going to be a thing. And I don't know how many of you have contact center practices or have recently walked through the hallowed halls of a contact center, but it is not known for its socially distance, spacious environment for everybody to work in, right? It's how many people can we fit into this room to be able to handle what we need to handle. And that's just not going to be tenable going forward. So if you had 400 in a room before or in an office before, you're not going to be able to fit 400 into that same office. So you're either going to have to get more office space, which I guarantee you is not what's going to happen, or you're going to have to figure out how to take some of that population and keep them at home permanently. And that's where we see the opportunities. What's happened so far is the sort of knee-jerk Band-Aid solutions, where everybody scrambled to talk to their existing vendor to just, how do I get them at home? Just get them at home and get me dial tone and get the phone ringing and we'll figure out the rest later. We're now in that let's figure out the rest later part of that evolution. And for some of those folks, it's going to be a change in technology stack, because what they have is very much a Band-Aid. It isn't easy for people who are working on legacy premise equipment to just up and move hundreds of agents to an at-home environment without substantial cost, substantial risk, or a substantial change in the kind of quality that you're going to get from the tool set, right? All of that gets solved, in the cloud. And so here's the last piece from this survey that I thought was relevant for this conversation today, which is that the focus of the workplace is being reevaluated by everybody, right? So this sort of de facto desire to have everybody in the office is being shifted to, hey, the office should be a place for collaboration. And when people really need to get together to make something happen or to work on a project where that kind of collaboration is necessary, that's what we're going to use office space for. For everything else, we're finding that we can actually accomplish everything we need with people working remotely. And so we see that trend really, really taking root right now. And we think that this is the direction that it's ultimately going to go, as does The Economist, as does Frost & Sullivan, as do a number of other analysts that follow this industry who have done similar surveys with similar results. So for all of you, the conversation needs to be around this, which is, working at home is more than just business continuity. It's a number of things. And the fact is, most companies aren't particularly well equipped to facilitate a high quality work at home environment, which is where you all get to come in, right? So there's just some benefits of working at home that are independent of the fact that it's driven by a pandemic. But when you're at home, people tend to be more productive. They actually have a harder time unplugging, right? They don't have to commute back and forth. They're less likely to be late for work, right? You still can have all the oversight over them. You have higher retention. The pool of potential candidates for a job expands certainly nationally and potentially globally, depending on the kind of business you've got. And the kind of increase you get in productivity is huge. All of you who have worked from home now for a while in a sales job, if you're, I'm 50, right? I remember when I had to go into an office all the time, every day, no matter what. I am infinitely more productive not doing that than I was having to do that, right? And everybody is finding the same to be true. But as I said, not every contact center is equipped to work from home productively. So you see the stat here, this is coming from third parties, 60% of contact centers have major barriers to full and productive work from home. That's either a lack of access of tools, a lack of access to appropriate bandwidth, the infrastructure, They just don't have a setup at home that's conducive to it. You know, a small place, lots of people, dogs, kids, whatever the case may be. But this infrastructure piece and this tool set piece are things that you all can directly help these folks with, right? And that takes us to, you know, how do we help, right? So we've talked macro level a little bit. Here's some more specifics about us particularly. So number one, right, the first wave of things that we heard from people was, okay, it's a pandemic. We got to send people home. We got to keep people safe. How do we help that, right? So for us, again, it was as easy as send them home. As long as they have a internet connection and a computer, you have a functional agent. For us, it's internet and a phone number. And that phone number can be an integrated soft phone or a WebRTC straight from the desktop or the browser, or it can be a cell phone or a home phone or whatever the setup needs to be. We don't have to send equipment home. You don't have to build a VPN. There are no dependencies for things like Java, etc. It's HTML5, web-based login, you're good to go, right? And then it was, okay, move fast to support customers, right? And so nothing helps you move faster than cloud. So getting to the cloud, oops, what just happened? So getting to the cloud and staying in the cloud gets you, I don't know what happened to my screen. I don't know how I changed slides, but nonetheless, the long and short of it is, you know, inContact is able to provide the full suite of contact center solutions, everything from your ACD to your IVR, to your workforce management, your quality tools, analytics, etc., all in a cloud model. And as the folks at RingCentral pointed out around Magic Quadrant, here's where we sit in the contact center Magic Quadrant. And we also continue to move up and to the right relative to everybody else in the space. So with that, I think my time is just about up. I appreciate everybody's attention, and I'll turn it back over.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Marcus. Yeah, just for everybody, what we're doing today is really kind of highlighting some of the solution sets that we put together with some of our key vendors in solving customer problems, and looking at, as people make this shift to being in the office or moving to a hybrid environment where they've got some office and some at home, how you tie together disparate systems, how you monitor employee effectiveness, how you monitor, rate, control, as well as collaborate with different individuals within an organization. So with that, I want to kind of round out the discussions with Net2Phone, which is another one of our vendors that has been kind of a hot topic lately. We've been doing some good business with them, and they've been able to put together some great solutions for some of our client needs. And I want to introduce Brian Holldorf, who's the Director of Partner Development. Take it away, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you, ISSQUARED. I really appreciate this time, and excited today to talk about Net2Phone, and selling in today's environment is going to be our topic. It's also just anytime you need to get a hold of me or in touch with me, please reach out. I'm always available, and answer the phone if it's ringing. I want to start with just talking a little bit about us at Net2Phone here. It's important to know we aren't a household name. We know that, but we are a up-and-comer, as we like to say, and just disrupting the market in a positive way. But we are ultra-focused in the hosted voice and SIP trunking space. We don't mess around with 18 different things. We don't isolate ourselves into and such, and for that, we are ultra focused, and if we don't make hosted voice and or SIP trunks work, then we simply shut the door. So we're super excited. We're 100% partner focused. We don't also ask that you work with other team members or direct reps and get involved and engage in those type of conversations, as you want to present a complete solution. And we are backed by a global giant in IDT, which gives us some great advantages like no others out there. When we talk about our installations, we dedicate a project manager and an onboarding engineer to each and every experience. So that means you can be as much involved or as little involved. And from a support perspective, we're 24/7 US-based, which is a great differentiator. And with that, we see first call resolutions and always a live answer with a Net2Phone certified person. And it's also important that we provide the free initial training, which so many do, but we also provide the ongoing training always, always, always. As long as they're a customer, they can receive training from us, which is super important. Again, given that 1 million people had to go home all of a sudden and stop working in the manner they were, we can help and assist them with all that heavy lifting and such. And as we see this great shift, it's going to be, COVID has promoted this at a high level, and now we see as workforce is changing, it's never going to be the same. I think there was a survey out there just yesterday that 35% of the workers, if given the chance, would not go back to work. So it's just super important to align with these remote solutions and cloud-based carrier solutions. And as we see, just again, that if when we talk with our partners, engage with our partners, we want to let them know that competitive footprint, and that it's alarming that 45% of the companies out there feel they're behind what their competitors are doing out there in the marketplace. So it's just a great time to go and educate and help and assist. And for that, we want to provide some cloud-based solutions all around those capabilities. We provide a soft phone inherent into our portal. We provide analytics that take the blinders off. We provide, of course, a mobile application with our capability. Just video conferencing, ultra important. And also, we see a surgence in the Teams integration. 70 million users are using Microsoft Teams that have far expanded their wildest dreams of what this was going to be in place. And we want to be a part of it, and you want to be a part of that. And so we're super excited to be able to integrate into it. When we talk about our soft phone, each and every one of our users has a portal capability that is web-based. If you can get to the internet, you have a working soft phone. This is different than our competitors that have an application-based soft phone. When you have an application-based soft phone, you need user rights, you need a proper PC, you need the proper operating system, you have updates that can happen and such like this that can take your solution down. With a web-based soft phone, where our competitors want to get to, it's a strong advantage for us. If they can get to the internet, they have an operating soft phone. Great, huge advantage for our people that had to go home, our net-to-phone customers that had to start working at home. Of course, it's always important to know that we provide free and included the mobile application with all our hosted services, teachers, lawyers, technicians that are arriving to your house. My daughter recently got a job at Amazon, and it was all over their mobile application texting capability up until the day she showed up for work. It's the new norm. We provide this capability included, and again, it also works over Wi-Fi and standard data plans, which is a huge, you need to know as well, because many of our workers are going home and want to use their mobile application. If it doesn't work over their calling plan, then they may struggle, or not work over Wi-Fi, they may struggle as well, depending on their geographic location. And it's always just important to include and have this capability of analytics, taking the blinders off. We can give each and every one of our partners a working demo account, so when they walk in the door, they can now show a business leader that the taking the blinders off of who's taking the calls, how many calls are coming in, are you staffed appropriately each and every day. Super important. And then you just magnify that 100% when you now all of a sudden have to work from home, and you wonder, what's Johnny doing each and every day sitting at his desk? How are my ring groups? Who's answering the calls? We can help and assist with that. We actually also include free call recording as well. So again, we can change in that environment in a positive manner, always with net-to-phone. And just as it's super important to note, we have a video conferencing capability that right now we have a promotion on. We understand the need for working at home and the tools that are important. So net-to-phone has put together a promotion that is running through June that any user that comes on board with net-to-phone will receive our video application free for as long as they're a customer. So a huge promotion around the immediate need to work from home. This capability, again, is another web-based product. You don't have to download the Zoom capability and have the proper requirements and such. If you can get to the internet, you have this capability. Huge advantage. Again, this can also provide integration into screen sharing and video tutorials and such like that. Up to 50 participants. We provide it free and included right now with Net2Phone. Teams integration, just super important. As I noted earlier, 70 million workers starting working from home immediately. Teams will get you the Teams integration capability that we provide that is native into it. We can provide both the trunking aspect or later our best-of-breed phone system. In either manner, we're replacing a Microsoft limited solution, whether with their dial plan calling, they're not a tier one carrier providing 5 nines of service, they have numbering plans that aren't set price per month. Or we can also interject not only the dialing plan, but our phone system, our best-of-breed capability, where Teams does lack and suffer with some of those capabilities. But I look at it from a support perspective. Do you want to call in to a service provider that is ultra-focused on hosted voice and answers their calls within 25 seconds? Or do you want to work within a Teams environment and start a need to add a feature or a capability within a chat solution? So just a big advantage for Net2Phone providing a Teams integration piece. It is a lead-in topic of discussion. And again, just our pricing plans, we have bundled offerings, but we also have an unbundled offering that disrupts the market, that gets us into deals that aren't aligned with true hosted bundled offerings where you get a all-you-can-eat bake seat. We provide an unbundled solution offering that matches the lines that the customer needs, separate and away from how many users they may have. So they buy only what they need from Net2Phone. Huge advantage, getting us into larger deals, getting it again into deals that aren't aligned with hosted capabilities. We also provide a markup with all our solution pricing. We do not publish our pricing anywhere. We allow our partners to name their price on each and every deal we provide, allowing them to maximize revenues or maximize their investment with the customer to spend the time they necessarily want to spend without having the stress of losing money or time. And again, the capabilities within Teams, the ability to direct route and replace the Microsoft calling plans, or the ability to direct route and provide the best-of-breed phone system with a solution provider that is focused into the hosted voice space and realm. Again, we provide these in bundled and unbundled formats. Huge, huge selling advantage with Net2Phone. I want to thank you for your time. I'm always here and always here to help you. If you ever need assistance with presentations, onboarding, demo kits, and such like that, please call Brian Holldorf at Net2Phone. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Brian. Well, that kind of concludes the presentations today, and I wanted to thank all of our presenters. For those joining and learning more about ISSQUARED and some of the vendors that we work with, on the carrier solutions side, I hope you found this informative today about some of the unified and collaboration and contact center solutions that each of these vendors offers, and offered a little bit of differentiation between some of their service offerings. But want to throw it out there for anybody that is interested in further exploring any of these solutions, or working through what your organization is looking at or challenges that they're having today. Reach out to myself or anyone within the sales teams at ISSQUARED, and we're happy to work with you and help you design an optimal solution for your business. Well, it looks great. Well, once again, thank you everybody for joining and taking the time today to listen into what we had to say, and we look forward to putting together an event maybe along different lines, but we wanted to really focus on the vendors and focus on the opportunities that are out there to support the enterprise and other businesses for the remote work from home solutions. So thanks everyone, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Bye.
Thank you for joining ISSQUARED's web series. And for more videos, training, and informative information, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website at issquared.com or sale@issquared.com.